Hello students, in this video we will be continuing with our explanation of the third chapter, the special prize. And before going to the meanings to the question answers, I'll first be explaining to you these exercises because I should tell you that tense or verbs are a very important part of English and grammar. And most of you speak Hindi and Gujarati at home. So many of you may find it difficult to understand verbs, or you can also say tenses. So this is a very important thing to study. So let me explain to you this first exercise. Complete the following sentences with appropriate form of verbs given. Appropriate means whatever is correct for the sentence. That means you have to know what the tense is going to be. Now, first of all, I'll read all the sentences together. The train leaves every morning at 6 a.m. When does the movie start? She always forgets her books. He walks 1 kilometer every day. We always arrive on time. My father washes his car every Sunday. Now, reading these six sentences, you must have noticed that all these things happen daily. Or you can also say these things are kinds of habits. It is not that it happens one day and the next day it doesn't happen. These things happen each and every day. So, when you have these kinds of sentences, you will always use simple present tense. I'll repeat, whenever there are habits in any sentences, you will always use simple present tense. I'll explain it to you one by one. First one, the train leaves every morning at 6 a.m. What is important over here is every morning, har subah. That means it is a kind of habit or it happens every day. So you won't say the train left every morning because it is happening on a daily basis. You will use a simple present tense, that is leaves. If you put an S over here, it becomes simple present tense. Next one, when does the movie start? And all of you know that in theaters we have a fixed time for every movie. And most of you know that it is usually 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So the question is, when does the movie start? And you may think, why is there no S over here? Because we already have this word over here. Students, please note this very, very carefully. In a sentence, if we have the word do or does, in the verb you won't put an S. Please listen to this carefully. I'm repeating it. In a sentence, if we have the word do or does, in the tense we won't use an S because we already have an S over here. When does the movie start? I notice that many students commit this mistake many a times. If you have this kind of sentence, you students usually say, when does the movie starts? That is a fully wrong sentence. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Question 3. She always forgets her books. Now here you can see that we don't have the word do or does. So we will put an S. She always forgets her books. That means it is like a habit for this girl that she always forgets her books. वो हमेशा भूल जाती है. Question 4. He walks 1 kilometer every day. That means it is his habit of doing this thing every day. He walks. We will just put an S over here. Next one. We always arrive on time. Now you may have a question over here, why is there no S over here? Although we don't have the word do or does. Now in every sentence you also must know the subject is in the singular or plural form. What do you mean by subject? A person or thing that we are talking about. For example, in the first sentence, we are talking about the train. It is only one train, that's why we have used the word leaves. For example, if this would be trains, then we would say the trains leave. Now, over here in question 4, he walks. We have only one person. If it would be they, then it would be they walk. In the same way, question 5, we means it is in a plural form. We have more than one person. We always arrive. There is no S over here because this is in the plural form. Next one, my father washes his car every Sunday. That means it is a habit of this person's father to do this thing every Sunday. That is, he washes his car. We put an S over here because it is only one person, that is singular. Now moving on to the next question. Correct the following sentences by changing the verb into the simple past tense. Past means whatever has happened, जो हो चुका है. First one, my grandmother calls me last night. Students, let me go back to the instruction. You do not have to correct the full sentence. You only have to correct the verb and you have to change it into the simple past tense. As you can see in the sentence, it is saying about last night. Now I'll also go through all the questions first. My father arrived last Friday. The dog barked loudly. The accident happened yesterday. I want to go to Paris last week. We see a movie yesterday. In most of the sentences you might have noticed that all these things already happened. ये सारे चीजें हो चुके हैं. And how do you know we have words like last night? Last night means it is already gone. Last Friday, already gone. The dog barked loudly, already finished. The accident happened yesterday, already gone. I want to go to Paris last week, already gone. Yesterday also, this action is over. Okay, now the first one. My grandmother calls me last night. Now going back to this question, why do we use simple present tense? I told you that when it is a habit or it happens every day, only then you will use simple present tense. But over here it was only about last night, only once. So we will say, my grandmother called me last night. And you should know that most of the past tense verbs usually have ed. It is not compulsory that it should have ed, but most of the verbs have ed, and these verbs are known as the verbs which are in the simple past tense. Next one, my father arrived last Friday. Very easy. Arrive. We will just add a D over here. My father arrived last Friday. Next one, the dog barked loudly. Easy. Just add ed, it will turn to simple past tense. The dog barked loudly. Next one, the accident happened yesterday. Now you can read this sentence only and you can understand that something is already wrong over here. because you are saying happen and you are also using the word yesterday, which has already gone, it has already occurred. So you will say the accident happened yesterday. Next one, I want to go to Paris last week. Now just translate this sentence into Hindi. मुझे पेरिस जाना है पिछले हफ्ते. Completely wrong sentence. Because you cannot say कि मुझे ये करना है पिछले हफ्ते, or you can say पिछले महीने or पिछले साल. It would have been in the coming week or the next week or the next month. So what you will change over here? I wanted to go. Now if you translate this sentence into Hindi, it will become मुझे पिछले हफ्ते पेरिस जाना था. Wanted to go. Now the sentence sounds right. And the last one, we see a movie yesterday. Now let us translate this into Hindi. हम एक मूवी कल देखते हैं. Completely wrong sentence. So you will change the tense into the past tense. We saw a movie yesterday. Now the sentence is correct. Let us move on to the next PDF. Choose the correct word to fill in the blanks. Now these are very easy. I had explained to you in the video also. Lalita was a good-natured girl. And please note, this sentence is the most important sentence of this chapter, because the full story is based on the nature of Lalita. And how was her nature? She was a good-natured girl. Next one. The children were very happy and talked about the prize. Very easy answer. I told you that they were happy and they were also excited. Next one. Mary could sing sweetly. You should also remember the second name, that is Leela. Now if Mary could sing sweetly, we also have the second person Leela, who could write neatly. We'll move on to the next one. Some boys had tied a can to the dog's tail. In the video, I had also showed you what a can is. Next one. Lalita untied the string and the dog ran away happily. Very easy, you already know these answers. We'll move on to this question. Use prefixes to make new words with the following words. First of all, what is the meaning of a prefix? Now let us break down this word. F-I-X. Fix means कुछ जोड़ना or to attach something. Now what do you mean by pre? Now students, most of you must be knowing the word prepaid, and most of you are also using it in your mobile phones right now. That means pre, you pay the money before using something. In the same way over here, fixing something before a word. This is known as a prefix. Adding something before a word, that means to the left hand side. Over here in the bracket also we have prefixes un, dis, in and im. Now students, you should also note that these are not words. I repeat, these are not words. Because if you only say un, it does not make any meaning. If you say only dis, it does not make any meaning. These are known as prefixes. We use all these with other words to make new words. First one, lock, unlock. Advantage, disadvantage. possible, impossible, complete, incomplete. And most of you students know this very well. Complete, incomplete. Pack, unpack. Proper, improper. Please note this is not pronounced as I'm proper, it is improper. Next one, correct, incorrect. This also most of you students will be knowing. Appear, disappear. Now in questions 1 to 8, you must have noticed that we have opposite words in the answers. Now let me tell you why opposite. Lock, if you use the prefix un, it becomes unlock. You already know the meaning of lock. Unlock means to open the lock. In the same way, advantage, disadvantage, something that does not have an advantage. Possible, impossible, which means not possible. Complete, incomplete, which means not complete. Pack, unpack, that means not to pack or to open. Proper, improper, which means it is not proper. Correct, incorrect means not correct. Appear, disappear, that means the opposite of the word appear. Disappear means gayab ho jana. We'll move on to the next question. Use suffixes full, less, ness, able to make new words with the following words. Now in the previous question, what we did was we used prefixes. That means these small pieces of words, or you can say letters, we were using it to the left hand side of a word. That means before a word. Now the exact opposite of prefix is suffix. That means using these things to the right hand side. That means after a particular word. Now let me show you what it exactly means. Dark, darkness. Great, greatness. Beauty, beautiful. Break, breakable. Doubt, doubtful. Fresh, freshness. Aware, awareness. Agree, agreeable. Now what do all these things mean? Now if you translate this word into Hindi, dark means andhera. But what do you mean by darkness? Darkness means andhkar. Great means mahan. Greatness means mahanta. In the same way, you can translate all these words and you can know what the difference is. Let me also tell you all these words are mostly kinds of adjectives. And you know adjectives means describing words, but not always. Please remember it is not always an adjective. As you can see in this word, aware, awareness. Awareness is not an adjective. Agreeable can or cannot be an adjective. But what you need to know is which suffix to use after which word. You cannot say dark, full. You always have to use the suffix ness. It should become darkness and not even darkless or not even darkable. So always remember which suffix to use after which word. In the same way, you cannot use any prefix for any word. For example, you cannot say unadvantage. You cannot say dislock, or you cannot even say in lock. or you cannot even say imlock. These will become completely wrong. And students, please note, whenever we form prefixes, these are not always opposite words. Please listen to it carefully. Whenever we form prefixes or whenever we use prefixes in any words, these new words are not always opposites, but mostly opposites. We'll now move on to the next PDF. The meanings I had already explained to you in the video, very easy to understand. Good natured, kind and friendly. Good natured in Hindi means अच्छे स्वभाव वाला इंसान. Can, a metal container for food or drinks. And there are more than one meanings of the word can. For example, I can sing, I can dance. But over here it is another meaning. A metal container. Container means something in which we can fill something. I had given you an example of soft drink, of cold drinks. And over here we also have the word food. You know, sometimes fish is also filled in cans and it is sold in shops. So meanings are very easy to understand. We'll move on to the question answers. Everyone in the school loved Lalita. Why? Why did everyone love Lalita? Everyone in the school loved Lalita because she was a good natured girl. As I told you in the beginning of the video itself, this is a very important part of this chapter. Next one, what was the prize for? The prize was a special one. The teacher wanted to keep it a surprise. Students, you may think, why this answer? Because you already know that the prize was for being good. But let us go in sequence, let us go in order. Now first we know that Lalita was loved by everyone because of her good nature. So what happens after that is the teacher in the class says that she wants to give a special prize. And in the beginning, none of the students know what the prize is for. So we will say that the prize was a special one. The teacher wanted to keep it a surprise. She did not want to tell the students what exactly it was. Next one. Who, according to Lalita, could write neatly? As I told you earlier, you have to remember two names. One is Mary and the other one is Leela. According to Lalita, Leela could write neatly. And who could sing well, who could sing sweetly? It was Mary. Next one. Describe the incident that Lalita saw one day while going to school. Describe means you have to explain. Incident means Hadsa. What did Lalita see? You have to explain that. One day, while going to school, Lalita saw that some boys had tied a can to a dog's tail. I had explained to you in the video also. The can made a lot of noise when the dog ran. The boys were laughing at it. Now students, in one answer itself you have 1, 2 and 3 sentences. You have to remember these 3 sentences. If you read and understand, it is very easy to remember. Next one, why did the boys run away? Very easy answer, the boys ran away because they saw the teacher coming. Who got the prize at the end of the term and why? At the end of the term, Lalita got the prize. This is the answer for this question. And why did she get the prize? Lalita got the prize for her kindness towards the dog. So you can see that for 2 questions we have 1 answer. That means 2 answers in 1 sentence. So that's it for this video. Thank you, students.